I'm calling from the Republic of India. I had listening your live interaction from many times immemorial. So, respected scholar, I had already called you 1 week earlier, and I asked you a question regarding the Surah Maida, verse number 44. Actually, the question is it is permissible to perform the profession of a judge in the non-Muslim country where the legislation was made on the basis of the man-made laws. So the interpretation done by the you and Sheikh Assim al-Hakim, the scholars of India, Pakistan, and very others are unsatisfied. The verse 144 is وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. This ayat states, whoever judge other than what Allah has revealed is kuffar. First, a rebuttal of the interpretation is, if the meaning is same, it means all the judges in the Saudi Arabia and other Islamic country who are performing the profession of a judge from the are the considered as the kuffar, because in even Saudi Arabia all the profession are not on the basis of the Sharia law. And Sheikh, secondly, as you are know in India, how government atrocities against Muslims are underway. Mosques, religious structures, Muslims were tortured, mosques were bulldozed and erased. So my rebuttal to your interpretation is, if there is a two category, either we can abandon the portfolios of a judge or can wield the powers. So if he abandons the judge's profession, so the non-believers will continue to oppress us and legislate against the Sharia. So because of this prophet hadith, can we legislate being a profession of a judge in a non-Muslim country? Because Indian scholars, mufti ranks officials has already designated it is totally permissible for Muslims to practice the profession of a judge, because Muslims were not responsible for the legislation of following law. Jazakallah khair.
Jazana uyakum. To me, it sounds like you have a certain mindset and you want to impose it on us, okay? And you're confusing between a legislator and a judge, okay? For Muslims to be active politically in order to book a place and a seat in the legislation sector, we said it is okay. In order to represent Muslims, in order to mandate laws which will preserve the rights of Muslim minorities, even though Muslims in India are about 20%, more than 200 million Muslims, but they're still minority. India is a huge continent, not just a country, okay? The Quran is very clear, and I don't have to repeat what I said again. Sheikh Assim doesn't have to repeat what he said again, okay? And it is very dangerous, and it is very unprofessional to generalize and say all the judges in Saudi Arabia. What do you have to do with the judges in Saudi Arabia? What do you have to do with the judges in other countries? Why don't you ask a question about your country, okay? Because you don't know what they're doing. Literally, you don't know. You don't know whether they are following the Sharia or not following the Sharia. It would have been much better to ask, are they following the Sharia there, or they are not following the Sharia? What is their Islamic law there? The Islamic law which they teach is Islamic law, which they judge with. There is the body of the law is Islamic. When a judge does not judge according to what Allah has revealed, it's his responsibility. I cannot generalize. I cannot say all judges in such country are kuffar. For us, even lawyers, representatives, counselors, we have to deal with the secular system, because I am as a defendant, or I am as a plaintiff. I have rights, or I'm being accused. I have to deal with the system. So I have to find a lawyer. I have to stand before such judge, okay? It's not by choice. If you want to live in the desert, or you live up in the mountain where you have your own constitution, that would be perfect, okay? You wouldn't have a problem. So we need to stop generalizing. The question should be specific, should be about the meaning of the ayah. You do not impose your views upon us. You're not calling the program to correct Sheikh Assim, to correct Zakir, to correct so and so. You're supposedly a learner. You're calling in order to learn. The ayah, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمْ whether الظالمون الكافرون or الفاسقون, is talking about those who have the authority and they choose to abandon the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they choose to be wrongdoers, rebellious and disbelievers. And that was said with regards to not only the Quran, the Bible, the Torah and the Quran. So every community, their local scholars know best their political circumstances, and whether it is advised for them to be involved in the election, in the legislation, in in running for offices, in accepting this post, if you think based on what is known as the benefit-risk ratio or al-masalih and al-mafasid, that will offer a lot of maslahah for Muslims, versus if I don't take that post. You don't just throw the hukm and say all those judges are kuffar. This is not professional. This is not the way the seekers of knowledge learn nor ask questions. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to what is best.